Are there any traps we should avoid when installing Windows on our PC?
Hi, I'm Paul, this is Diane. We are the PC Zombies, and yes, there are configuration traps with Windows that can ruin a high-end PC build.
And we'll show you how we avoided these traps when we installed Windows on our PC.
So let's just jump right into it, Di.
All right. Since we have multiple SSDs, does it matter which one we put Windows on?
Yes, it does matter because some SSD slots connect directly to the CPU, creating a direct fast access to the CPU. Other SSD slots are going to be connected to the chipset, which then goes to the CPU. It's a roundabout way to get there, and there's also traffic that could also cause problems. We'll show you how to avoid these traps while we install Windows on this rig. Here we go. Put the Windows installer flash drive into the new PC and reboot it. If the computer doesn't boot from the flash drive, you may have to drop into the BIOS and change the boot settings to force it to start on the flash drive. Once the installer does boot, you'll get the Windows installation wizard. When you get to the screen for selecting a location to install Windows 11, you need to be very aware of what you're doing. In our case, we installed 4 SSDs on this build. We showed this in the previous video, where we explain the advantages of putting SSDs in slots that are connected directly to the CPU versus the chipset.
Slots connected to the CPU run faster.
Yes, but since not all SSD slots are connected to the CPU, some may go through the chipset to deliver its data to the CPU, which risks slower performance due to other traffic going through the chipset.
So if you're a gamer, you want to install Windows on an SSD connected directly to the CPU.
Right, that speeds up the loading of the system and the applications. And your games are applications, so you definitely want those loading faster.
So in the Windows installer, how do you know which SSD is which?
Great question. There's not a lot of hints in the Windows installer. The Windows installer assigns disk numbers starting at 0 to each SSD it finds installed. It doesn't tell you which one is connected to which slot. But you also have the size of the SSD. Like in this case, we see 3.6 terabytes and 1.8 terabyte.
That's our 4 terabyte and 2 terabyte SSDs.
Right. So for us, this is easy because in our case, we knew that we were going to use the 4 terabyte drives for data and only 2 terabytes for the system and applications. So we know that the 2 terabyte is the SSD slot we want the system and applications on. So that's the one we're going to end up selecting.
So if your SSDs are all the same size, how do you know which one to select?
Well, the easiest way is to install only one SSD to the slot that you want to use, the one that you want either going through the CPU or the chipset for your Windows installation. That way, when you get to the screen here, there will be only one SSD listed. You can select it, do the Windows install, and then afterwards, open up your motherboard and install your other SSDs later. You can deal with them at that point. But there's also another way, Di.
And what is that?
It's a little bit riskier, but it works most of the time. Do you notice how it says drive 0, drive 1, ... This appears to correspond to the motherboard layout of SSDs. On our motherboard, which we have the manual for here, if you look at the SSDs, they all have numbers associated, M.2_1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as we explained in our previous video, we determined the best layout for each of those 4 SSDs we put in and put them in slot 2 through 5. We skipped the first slot so we don't hamper the graphics card. If we put a SSD in the first slot, we would have got a CPU direct connection, but our graphics card would have half as many lanes going to it, and our graphics card is too important to slow down. Also, in our case, we put the 2 terabyte drive in slot 4. Because this is a video editing rig, we put Windows on the chipset to save the fast CPU lanes for our raw 4K video drives. So we know we installed 4 SSDs. The 2 terabyte one was in the third one that we installed. Now, when you look at the Windows installers, it says disk 0 through disk 4. Disk 4 is obviously the USB drive doing the install. Disk 0 through disk 3 must be our SSDs, and the third one is a 2 terabyte drive, which tells us the installer is just using a sequential numbering for the disk, and that numbering looks like it follows the motherboard's ordering.
Does that work on all motherboards?
While it may work for our motherboard sequential layout, the absolute safest way to identify your drive is by its total size or by only having one drive to select. Now we can select the 2 terabyte drive for our Windows installation and continue the install. Once Windows is done installing, I'll show you even more pitfalls to avoid. So what do you think, Di?
This looks like something someone can easily get wrong and slow down their PC.
It's absolutely an important gotcha, so if you're installing multiple SSDs, get this one right or you'll slow down a fast PC.
And if you like today's video, please see our previous video where we show you the steps we took preparing to install Windows 11.
Okay, that's great. Now please subscribe, guys, and next week, hopefully we can get this PC online.
I can't wait. This is going to be fun.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.